Did this Jadavian Sims response blow up because, as you mentioned, Jason, even though he's listed from Oklahoma, he has ties to Dallas, right?
Mhm.
But if people just see he's from Oklahoma, he should be ours. And if we do lose him, it's usually Texas, Georgia, somewhere where we can stomach the loss rather than Oregon.
Yeah.
Was that it, or it was just an afterthought that he was Oklahoma's and there was just no concern?
I think there
I
was a
think
lot of that, though. There was a lot of that talk anyway, but go ahead, Jason.
no. I was just going to say, yeah. To your point, I think there's a lot of belief internally within the Oklahoma fan base that this team, not just this team, every year they need to have more local Oklahoma kids on the team. It's been that way for quite a while, and quite frankly, Oklahoma has not necessarily recruited extremely well in the state of Oklahoma, and and we throw him under the bus so many times, just as Oklahoma people, but Riley did a very bad job of really developing those relationships with those high school coaches. And so Venables and the staff has really, and they're behind the eight ball a lot. So this is going to get, I'm not saying it's going to get worse before it gets better, but it's going to take some time to get a little bit better in terms of the recruitment in the state of Oklahoma. Just because of those relationships that had kind of been torn down to a certain degree until Venables got here. Now I know with Gentry Williams coming in, I think that helps. But there's a lot of kids over the last few years.
Sure.
The Proctor kid from Owasso went to Ohio State. You've seen the Kendall Daniels kid from Beggs, I believe, went to Oklahoma State, and so you've just seen that, and so I think
a lot of those kids have went to OSU.
Yeah, and I think it's just a trigger. I think if it's a highly recruited kid and he's an Oklahoma kid, has Oklahoma ties. Now you
even had the locked on their new recruiting guru guy or whatever that was talking about it before the weekend, and I think I'd already heard that it was over on that. By that point, and he was talking about if you don't get this guy, you might as well pack it. I'm like, what? Number one, he's not from Oklahoma. He's been there for 10 minutes. You know what I mean? He went there, and he probably, because you're going to get a little more. I think it probably enhanced his recruiting profile by being in Oklahoma rather than in Texas in the Dallas area. Where there's other guys that are very, very good.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. Now we fast forward to December, January, whenever it ends up being. If I think we're both on the same page that we would be pretty shocked if David Stone doesn't commit to Oklahoma. Yeah. If he doesn't, I'm
surprised. Gerald McCoy's even recruiting him.
Yeah, if he doesn't, this fan base is going to absolutely go nuts.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so, but yeah, I think.
At that point, maybe it would if you didn't end up with at least two of the. I mean, even if it was, if you didn't get Stoney and you ended up with three of them, though, I think that they would stomach it. Sure. But if you don't get him and you only get one, or God forbid you don't get any of them, then we got problems. But that I don't know that you would necessarily point that at Bates, or if you would point that at maybe there is an NIL issue. Is that the problem? That's my question. I mean, they don't talk a ton about it, but. Everything that I hear from the folks that I know, and I'm sure you know some of the same people, is that they're putting the money together. This is not something that it's not like there's a shortage of cash from some of these boosters. I mean, we're talking about oil guys. Do they have the money that Texas and Texas A&M have? Of course not. That nobody does. Maybe Notre Dame, but they don't have that money. But aside from that, and maybe not Oregon money either, but. I don't think that that's what they want to do is get into these bidding wars. They didn't do it with Caleb Williams even though maybe they should have. But I don't think it would have mattered anyway. He wasn't going to go. He wasn't going to stay in Oklahoma when Lincoln left. Anyway, I didn't mean to trigger everybody in the comments. Sorry, guys. But in any event, I agree with you. I think that you will see them explode. They're exploding over Zadavian Sims, you know.